happen in our rural communities. Like the Buhari instance now and some other cases that we see around the boundaries between the FCT and the other states. These are local communities where these kidnappings happen, where these community members will donate monies and pay ransom. Now, if you go to these communities, you can't see the presence of our conventional security agents. You can't see the presence of police or soldiers there. But I want to say that you can see vigilante group members. If you go to what state are you from?
I'm from Imo State originally.
Now, if you go to your village, you're not Owerri, you're not your local government headquarters, your interior village where you will you see police there? It's rare.
In the southeast, you have them everywhere.
Police,
but mostly intimidating people and harassing people. I'm going to tell you that for free. Unfortunately, I'm not from a village. So I'm from the city center. The capital of my state.
Development has caught up with your village, let me say. But where I come from, and most of our communities in this country don't have presence of police, but they have presence of local vigilante, and this local vigilante, they are doing excellently well. In every system, there are barracks. Even in the police, there are also barracks. In the military, there are also barracks. As I speak to you, in Port Harcourt, 4 police officers are in detention. They masterminded a kidnapping activity where they demanded for $1 million ransom. In Akwa Ibom, 2 police officers have been sentenced to death by the Akwa Ibom State Government, the High Court, for kidnapping. So in every system, there are barracks. The good thing is that the hierarchy of these agencies are doing their best to fish out these barracks. So there are some officers in the system that are sabotaging the effort of the government. Now, why am I saying this? When you begin to speak for the vigilante and the Nigerian Hunters and Forest Security Service, people will begin to say that the vigilante did this, did that. But the advantages that comes with that group, it's more than the disadvantage.
The people argue. So, for instance, the killings in Plateau State, they had vigilante, right? They had exactly. So the people who come to kill them come with sophisticated weapons. These guys are left with Dane guns and all of that, or batons. How do they kill? How do they defend themselves or protect themselves?
Exactly.
And the communities.
It's very impossible to do that. So when I see state government establishing security outfits within their states and they go unarmed, it will not yield results. It's not about just information gathering. It goes on that. Just the way you said, they come with sophisticated weapons, and the vigilante and the Nigerian Hunters, Forest and Security Service are left with nothing. Now, why am I saying this? The bill establishing these 2 local groups, before the president, they passed the first, second, and third reading in the 9th Assembly. Now, the beauty about it is that the current speaker, was the one that the bill to establish local vigilante. This speaker today, I think he has seen the advantages that comes with it. These guys the president should assent to this bill, establish the local vigilante. They can stand in the gap, between the conventional security agents and the bandits. They can be confronting these bandits or criminal elements, pending when the security agents find their way.
So this bill allow for them to carry sophisticated weapons as well. Now, and on the flip side of this argument is the fact that there's already too many weapons, in the Nigerian streets, in the hands of criminals and everywhere. Do we want to further proliferate, firearms and dangerous weapons like this? Because how do we check to ensure that the vigilantes do not also begin to use these weapons against those who they're supposed to protect?
Now, just the way I said, we talked about bad eggs in every organization. Now, in recruiting the vigilante, now this time government has taken over. I used to know that when you want to join the military, you have to take your form down to your local government. Chairman will sign, your clan head, the chief of your village will sign, and all that. Why are they doing that? To attest to your character, that you're of good character and behavior, and all that. So in doing that, or in recruiting members of the vigilante, same process can be followed. your chief, the clergy, either the pastor or the imam or whoever in your community will attest that this person that is joining this vigilante is of good behavior. In the event where the person does otherwise, these people that have signed on behalf of the person can be found. They can be taken into, as in bring them on board and say, okay, the person that you people signed or vouched for, the person has done XYZ, which is not in line with why he was recruited into the vigilante. So there are ways to go about this thing. For this crime that is local, and the Nigerian Hunters and Forest Security Service.
Does that also, what you call it, counter the argument for state police? Because people say, why don't we have state police where the state governors are in charge of these, the security or the policing of their states? What we currently have is a situation where, the governors will tell you, we don't control the commissioners of police, we don't control security architecture in our states. We're just chief security officers by title or by name. We don't really control anything. So why do you think that it's time for us to give the governors some level of control so that they're able to appoint people to secure their states, give them a mandate, and hold them responsible when they do not perform?
Now we're talking about when the state governors give those kind of excuses. I don't of security agencies that are within the state, they attend such meetings. In the event where criminals are attacking a certain community and the governor gets an intelligence report and he calls the attention of the police, are you telling me the police will not go to see how to rescue the situation? So when I hear these excuses coming from the governors, it baffles my imagination. And the idea about state police, yes, there's nothing wrong with that, but you're aware that there's this conflict between the federal and the state when it has to do with firearms. And that is why you see when state governors establish security outfit, they are left with nothing, to protect themselves and even protect the community where they live. So I think that it is important for us to look at it at the federal level for now, because only the president and the IGP has the power to sign for arms if you want to even get it as an individual to protect yourself. So why you see that conflict, then I think that it is important for us to first of all look at it at this level where the president should assent to this bill establishing these two local groups, because in the US, let me just take you outside the shores of this country. In the US, when they attacked the 9/11 attack, there was nothing like the Homeland Defense. There was nothing like that. So the government of the US now said, okay, let us put something on ground to see that anything that has to do with terror can be handled or tackled using the Homeland Defense. Now, why didn't the US government say, no, there's FBI, there's CIA, there's no need for
Homeland Security.
These are countries that I think outside it locally, we should be looking at that. During the Plateau attack, the military that they couldn't get to the communities where these attacks happen. In the event where these attacks are happening, these local groups can stand in the gap. Moreover, why do we have choppers? Do we have the choppers to be taking a VIP from one point to another point? These choppers are meant for such operation. If you take like 5 choppers and each chopper carries like 10 troops, that's about 50, right? You take them to where these attacks are. You drop them as the ground operation. The choppers are up trying to see how to cover that of the air,
We've seen situations where these guys have gone down. They've gone down aircrafts and all. But most recently, talking about security, we've seen governors. And most recently, I think the Katsina State governor calling for citizens to be allowed to carry arms and protect themselves, because if criminals have guns and get them free, why shouldn't law-abiding citizens also be allowed to carry guns? So do you subscribe to that argument?
No, I'm looking at it differently. Now we have it's on record that we have over 6 million arms in the hands of non-state actors. You know. Now, it takes the good guy with a gun to be able to get down the bad guy with a gun. Now, when you establish such a security outfit within your state, and you know that this is a structure, there's a head. Just the way Amotekun is being done in the southwest. There's a structure at security outfit that you have. Amongst the 50, you will know that 10 or 15 will be armed. And the arms will be marked, at least to be able to trace that, okay, this arm or these arms belong to a certain community, you know, to differentiate where this one is coming from the other. They can be armed, they can be traced, they can be individuals should have. These local vigilantes that are protecting a certain community can bear these arms, you know. The ones that are on duty, you know that they have the arm. And they can do this under the supervision of the Nigerian police. It can yield result.
Interesting. Well, the president has proposed marine, police and even the forest police. Let's see that's able to scale through. Is that going to also solve the problem in your thinking?
I saw it in his manifesto, where he talked about forest guards or something. You know, forests are found in our local communities, and that takes me to the point where we need to involve traditional rulers in this fight as well. You know, and you know that our traditional rulers are just there; they're just playing the role of advisory.
I'm going to ask now, because we're seeing traditional rulers being fingered in kidnap incidents, and sometimes even the state government tries to carry them along so much to a point where they buy them cars, build them houses, and all of those things. Yet these things continue under the domain. Even those who have gotten cars, say for instance, and for our state, have gotten all of this support from governments, yet they get involved with criminality.
Do you know why? You have to blame the government.
I saw.
Yes, because the government installed bad eggs. They didn't carry out due diligence. You know, they look for their cronies. You know, people that they feel that supported them when they were looking for power. Meanwhile, these guys are bad people. You don't just begin to appoint anybody from anywhere. So who do you blame? When a traditional ruler that is being appointed or selected by the governor of a state, meanwhile they have kingmakers that are supposed to select, and the government will push them by the corner and go pick somebody that they want. Who do you blame for that? It's the governors. No traditional ruler gets to the throne without the approval of the governor. You know, we have seen in that same Zafara, there was this terrorist that was bandit that was terrorizing the whole of. And he's still alive, still terrorizing. Was it not Toban?
Toban, given a title.
He was given a title, and the whole idea about the traditional or the emir was that they had to give him that title so that peace will return to their community. But behind him during the Tobani ceremony, there were police officers. 2 days, a day after the Tobani ceremony, the police in Zamfara declared him wanted. So who is fooling who? When it has to do with security, you have to be very serious about it. There's no pretense. Security is not cheap. The government needs to bring out money. There's a lot that technology does. How well are we applying technology in this fight against insecurity? So there's a lot of things that, you see, the troops, the police officers and the likes, they need to be committed. They need to be patriotic. And one of the challenges that we have, again, that I discovered is that these police officers or the military and the likes, so they don't even have passion for the job. They only joined the job
as a means to an end.
As a means to an end. If you put all of them together now and bring an appointment letter from CBN and NNPC, you see a lot of them will jump at it. So we need to have passion for the job. How well? You know. So I think in outside the shores of this country, you see a child that wants to become a police officer. You see him, he will grow with such attitude. You know, he wants to be. He wants to be a firefighter. He wants to be that. But here, it's because there's no job. They just jump at it. And the involvement of politicians in the recruitment process is also a challenge. They just send a list of their constituents to the police, recruit them. How well do you even know them? So there's a whole lot that the agencies of government needs to do. if we are serious about combating insecurity in this country.
Just looks to me like we need a total overhaul. And where do we start with
are
this
they, the ones that are even heading are they serious even in the overhaul? When you read in the papers, the police, the military will say the military and the police are not profiting from insecurity. When they, after serving in the military or in the police for 25 years, go and see how much they have stolen away. You see assets that they have. How can a military officer have such an asset after serving the country for 35 years? Outside the shores of this country, military officers or police officers make more money after retirement.
After retirement, because they become consultants.
Exactly. But here, they make the money while they are in service. Is it supposed to be like that? So it means the money that is even in the budget for such operations, they are not judiciously used. They divert this money. So a whole lot is wrong. For us to be serious, we have to go back to the drawing board. Let us see that Nigerians that are appointed into certain positions to see that insecurity is combated have integrity. What is integrity now? Doing the right thing for me, doing the right thing when there's nobody watching you. You know, your conscience is there watching you. You know, but do we have such people? So, I think that a whole lot is, we have to look at our value system. Why are we in such situation? You think that because they are in power today, they can go, you know, with the case of Badi. What happened to him? How was he killed? Was he not a 4-star general?
Yes.
In his whole life, will he have ever thought that he would be killed on that?
Kaduna Abuja.
No, not Kaduna Abuja. Kefi, Maraba or something.
Coming from farm.
From his farm. Then somebody from nowhere with a dang gun finished him. So when you think that because you are in service, you won't do the right thing. When you leave service, what happens after that? Are you aware that the general was kidnapped in December? The Major General. Have you that? Nothing. No story. So what are we talking about? We are all vulnerable to these attacks. Everybody is vulnerable. They are killing people every day. Victims today. We're not victims yesterday, right? Victims tomorrow.
The survivors of today.
I don't want to begin to look at it that we are seeing symptoms or signs of a failed state.
Because it seems like these guys are more powerful than state actors and even government.
Yes.
In a situation where we've had successive governments from 2007 or 2011, let's say from 2011 up until now, and they haven't been able to tackle insecurity, which is the biggest problem. Now we're talking about when investors into the country. How can investors come into a country where the capital, the capital of Nigeria, the Federal Capital Territory, isn't even safe for its citizens? How can we guarantee the security of foreign investors?
Why are we deceiving ourselves? If you go to Google now, just type kidnapping incident in Nigeria, a whole lot of information is there. And you think these investors that you go to war, they don't have access to Google, that they can check and see the security situation in Nigeria? Nigeria is ranked 100 as at the last year. Nigeria is ranked 148 position as a state that is insecure out of 160 nations. So we just have about 12 countries behind us. 148. These informations are there. So which foreign investor do you want to owe? That the foreign investor will come, monies that he will make as profit, he will be paying for his personal security, hiring like 7-10 police officers or soldiers to protect them. Meanwhile, even with that number, they are still unsafe. So these investors that you are going to owe, they know the truth. No matter how you want to convince them, Nigeria is in a bad state, especially when it has to do with kidnapping. There's no money anywhere. I know of a case, this same Buhari, a guy was kidnapped. They negotiated and got up to 4 million. They took 4 million to them, 12. When the harvestment killed, they told him. And he told me. Nigeria is in a bad state. I'm telling you.
That's brilliant. When the conversation is interesting and making a lot of sense, it happens like this. Joining now, let's get your thoughts in 09073530044 and 0908766705445.
Thank you. I think your question is well. Your question is giving an award. Yeah, because you are touching lives the challenges of this country. I want to thank you, Ben.
Thank you very much.
You have already made most analysis on the issues of this country. My number one question to him is that, as a acknowledge to look for the solution of this problem we are going through. Then the second thing I want to say is that most of these people during the election see they carrying guns, terrorizing people, and after the election, these guns are not collected. And we expect them to carry these guns too. Is to begin to move around to make sure that the evil that is committed at the hearing today is being done by them. Sometimes when you watch as if it's an American thing, you see them coming in the convoy with guns. Another factor that sometimes the government may not speak because some of them may know these people.
Thank you, Moses.
How did they get to touch with the guns? Where did they receive their training? Thank you, God bless.
Thank you very much, Moses. Appreciate you calling in. There's a lot to talk about. There's really a lot to talk about. I want us to also touch on, there's people who refer to a foreign angle to this. Some foreign nations also, or Western powers, as they call them, working in cahoots with some of these criminals and providing support to criminality against Nigeria and Nigerians. I'm getting another caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Actually, I'm from Syria.
I didn't get your name.
What
is your name, sir? What is your name?
My name is Ahmed. Okay. So, as that is a security expert and analyst, at least you have to reach out. Besides from that, this country, I don't know. I quite agree with the last caller. He said most of these problems and this kidnapping issue we're having presently in Nigeria, most of them are really on the ground, the security conscience on our own, because the issue of insecurity personally in this country, most of these kidnappers are being sponsored by most of our top and some politicians. I'm telling you, there's nothing to shine away from. They all know it.
Right.
Imagine if federal government
wrap it up quickly. Please sum up your thoughts quickly. Please sum up your thoughts quickly so that we can move on. Okay.
Sorry.
Yes.
The first caller talked about
recommendations
and just the way I said, I look for solutions. Let us profile solutions to these challenges. These are things that we already know. I'm a researcher. The last assembly, the 9th assembly, under the former speaker that is now chief of staff, Femi Gbajabiamila, the assembly put up a national special security committee on security, just to see how to come up with solutions to the challenges why is it that the government are failing in their responsibilities to tackle these issues. I did a memorandum to that committee. I recommended 7 ways that how this crime can be tackled. 6 crimes are local and they happen in local communities. Out of the 7 recommendations I made, 4 were picked, and they were in the recommended in the book, the report that the speaker then submitted to former President Muhammadu Buhari. You see, the challenge is that you see these people in uniform, they think they know it too much. That's the challenge. When experts or analysts I research, I listen to news, I cross-examine how issues bordering on crime are tackled, like kidnapping, the way it's tackled in Afghanistan, and the way it's tackled. I try to compare notes. Someone will make such recommendations. It ends in the shelf. They don't look at it, and that is why we keep facing this. I was in a function somewhere where I suggested that the president is not about taking briefs from the service chiefs alone, because the service chiefs will come and tell him what he wants to hear to keep their job. The president can periodically be calling for security summit or something. Let external people also come and make their own contributions and tell the president to his face that these are the issues and this is the way we feel they can go about it. But relying wholeheartedly on the service chiefs and the security agencies, it won't yield expected result.
Well, let's wrap up with this. What are your thoughts on this crowdfunding for terrorism? Because if it's one thing starts in Nigeria and it's hard to stop, it becomes a pattern, it becomes a way or a norm. What do you think of it, especially seeing that high-profile Nigerians, like the former minister, is somewhat, even though he says he does not support ransom payment, but he is making a statement on it. Seems some way like some level of support, even going ahead to get his friend to pay 50 million naira. That's some solid support given to ransom payment and crowdfunding for ransom.
I said it's unfortunate that we have found ourselves in this situation. And I'm a realist. I say it the way I think and the way you see this kidnapping thing. I'm very sorry to say it has come to stay. And the crowdfund, these communities, they don't have any option. I saw a community in Kaduna that they paid 17.5 million and 5 bikes to get a man and a boy released.
17.5 million.
Yes, and
by the community.
Yes, they have to put these monies together
to release one member or 2 members of their community.
2 members of their community and 5 bikes. A bike now goes for like 400 or 500,000 naira. So when you put that together, it goes to show that they spent over almost 20 million to release them, and they were celebrating when they released them. But it's not a guarantee that they will not be kidnapped.
They will come back again.
Exactly. So how long will this continue? The security agencies and the government, they must have to step up their game. They should not lose their guard. They think they have succeeded. How are they succeeding? Community policing is another way to go about this. Constant interaction between members of the community and the law enforcement agents or agencies. Now, when was the last time that the police carried out foot patrol within certain communities? When I was growing up, I used to remember how I see police walk in between our compounds and our houses then. Where are they today? They stop foot patrol. They rely on highways to see how to conduct unprofessional acts by collecting monies from people that fly the road.
What do you make of the recruitment of police officers in 2018 or 2019? Now we had the president at the time say approved the recruitment of 10,000 constables yearly, and that has been reoccurring, even though there was a back and forth or a face-off between the IGP's office and the PSC at the time. This time around it seems seamless. Do you think that that's a way to go? Is it going to solve the problem, and how soon would it tackle?
Function where a police commissioner was complaining about manpower. What size of the number does he think that the police should have? And he could even give me a figure. We have over 200 million Nigerians, and we have less 400,000 police officers.
But your recommendation,
exactly. I was going to go there. Your recommendation: a police officer to 350 cities, right? But that recommendation, in my last calculation that I did, a police officer to the number of Nigerians that the police is supposed to police is 1,050.
And that's when those police officers are supposed to protect Nigerians and not just VIPs.
Yes.
This is a good place to leave the conversations. Nigerians, I'm guessing that you have heard it all. I don't know what bits Nigerians have to do, but government and security agents, like my guest has called, need to step up their game. Step up and get on top of the situation. It's not just by mouth, but take the actions that's required. Abdullahi Mekano says, good morning. Abdullahi Mekano, the insecurity in the country is disheartening and disappointing. If I made a bad speech against government on air or on social media, the security men might go after me within 24 hours. Why not go after bandits? They kidnap and communicate with the family members asking for ransom, yet the security can't track and go after them. They make their mobile phones as well. Why do we have NCC? Why do we have Ministry of Communications? Why do we have NIA? Why do we have DSS and the rest? I don't understand, sir. Well, Abdullahi Mekan, I hope that you find understanding. My guest has been Stephen Okwori, Security and Crime Management Consultant. Thank you so much for talking with us. It's been an interesting conversation with you this morning.
Thank you for
and I hope that we have this conversation some more.
Anytime, we'll keep talking.
Thank you very much. And to everyone who's been a part of it, thank you for being there. Sports, did I just